I noticed his hand before anything else, steady, intentional, almost rehearsed. He assumed no one was paying attention. But I was. From across the room, beneath the shimmer of warm golden lights and the hollow buzz of celebration, I watched my father angle a small silver packet over my drink. The powder vanished instantly. The champagne bubbled, glittered, then settled back into stillness, pretending nothing had happened. People were laughing, posing for photos. My name drifted through the air like a proud whisper. Yet in that quiet, hidden motion, my father's betrayal outshone everything around us. I didn't react. Didn't flinch. I smiled. I used to believe in him. He once called me his prodigy, said I had his brain, his ambition. When I got into law school, he cried, said I'd surpass every milestone he'd ever reached. And for a long time, I believed that too. But after Mom left, something in him shifted. He remarried quickly, too quickly. My stepmother arrived with a daughter, Lena. Beautiful, polished, soft-spoken, the kind of girl people adored instantly. My father started calling her sweetheart. And stopped calling me anything at all. At first it was small things. Fewer calls. Missed weekends. Then bigger ones, the accidental transfer of my tuition money into Lena's boutique startup. The hushed conversations I wasn't meant to hear. She doesn't need it. She'll figure it out. And I did. Without him. Without any of them. But that night, my graduation night, he had invited everyone. As if he wanted to rewrite the story, pretend I was still his pride, still his success. He wore the same watch he'd used to check if I'd missed curfew. Its face caught the light when he slipped the powder into my champagne. And that's when everything snapped into place. It wasn't random. It wasn't some error. He'd done this before. Mom's hospital visit that winter. The dizziness, the disorientation, the strange reaction. The doctor's note, mild poisoning, likely a sedative. Mom blamed stress. I chalked it up to coincidence. But staring at that shimmering drink, I realized none of it had ever been stress. It had been him. Maybe for control. Maybe for silence. Maybe to shield something that couldn't survive daylight. I didn't know yet. But I planned to. So I stayed composed. Said nothing. Accused no one. Instead, I slipped into the performance. When he raised his glass and said, "To my brilliant daughter," I smiled back, the kind of smile that tucks sharp edges behind dimples. Then I stood, slow and deliberate. My heels tapped sharply against the marble, drawing every eye. "To those who raise us," I said, lifting my champagne, "and the ones who reveal who they really are." He didn't notice my hand guide the glass, just barely, toward Lena. She giggled, a crisp, airy sound, and took it from me. "You're always so dramatic," she teased. And then she drank every drop. Applause swelled around us. Even my father clapped, clueless. I waited. It didn't take long. 10 minutes, maybe less. She faltered first, a tiny unsteady sway people assumed was drunkenness. Then came the confusion, the dazed blinking, the soft collapse. Laughter froze. The music died. And in that perfect, suspended silence, I looked at him. He knew. God, he knew. The color drained from his face as quickly as it had from hers. His gaze darted from the empty glass back to me. And for a moment, I saw it again, the sharp calculation I once admired in him. He was sifting through excuses. Scenarios. Lies. But I was quicker. She drank from my glass, I said softly, just loud enough for the room. I tried to stop her. Chaos erupted. Someone shouted for help. My stepmother screamed. I stood motionless, unshaken, watching the man who taught me strategy choke on his own lessons. The police arrived. Statements were taken. Toxicology reports followed. The substance, unprescribed sedatives mixed with alcohol. Not enough to kill, but enough to raise alarms about intent, about history, about what happened to my mother. My father denied everything, of course. But he couldn't explain why the identical compound appeared in 2 separate medical files, Mom's and Lena's. Or why it was sitting in his desk drawer labeled stress relief. He couldn't explain me either how I had been quietly collecting evidence for months, How I had recorded him in that casual, careless tone he used with his insurance advisor. If she's declared unfit, the funds transfer automatically. He'd meant me. He wanted the inheritance Mom left in my name. But he miscalculated one thing. I had learned every tactic from him. By the time police finished questioning, his legacy was already turning to dust. Lena survived, barely, and remembers nothing. My stepmother abandoned him in a loud, public storm of outrage. He pled guilty to a lesser charge, reckless endangerment, but the real ruin happened outside the courtroom. The interviews, the murmurs, the strategically leaked documents. All perfectly timed. His company dropped him. His name became contamination. I didn't have to do anything after that night. People sometimes ask if I feel guilty. I don't. I didn't poison anyone. I didn't raise my voice. I simply let him face his own medicine. And poison, well, it always returns to its source. That night, under the golden lights, watching his empire collapse, I finally understood him, the precision, the manipulation, the hunger for control. Except unlike him, I knew when enough was enough. I lifted another glass, untouched and clean, and whispered to no one, to family, the ones who build us, and the ones who undo themselves. Then I drank. And I smiled.